The grade point averages GPA for 12 randomly selected college students are shown on the right. Complete parts A through C below. Assume the population is normally distributed. A, find the sample mean, i.e. x bar equals, and we want to round to 2 decimal places as needed. We have 12 data points here, so in order to do this, the easiest way is to use StatCrunch. I'll left click this icon, and where it says open in StatCrunch, I will left click that, and that brings up StatCrunch, and that will have the data already in it. And once we see the data populate in the first column, we'll left click Stat. We're going to highlight Summary Stats and come over here to Columns. We will left click Columns. We'll highlight var1. Notice that it will populate in this field over here. So that means that all the calculations are going to be done on the first column. And over here in the statistics windows, there's a number of things that are already highlighted. Well, we really only need n. We'll press and hold the control key, left click mean. Let's go ahead, left click standard deviation, and we will left click compute. And this pop-up window gives us the mean and the standard deviation. Let me slide this over to the right just a bit. Remember that where it says find the sample mean, we want to round to 2 decimal places as needed. And our sample mean was 2.325, which we will round to 2.33. Let's go ahead and left click, type in 2.33, press the enter key, and we get a fantastic for this one. Left click OK. The next one says find the sample standard deviation. S is equal to, we're going to enter our sample standard deviation into this text field where the blinking cursor is, and we also want to round to 2 decimal places as needed. Now in my stat lab, when we do this, when it says standard deviation, that is our sample standard deviation. If we want to get a population standard deviation, we will highlight the unadjusted standard deviation choice when we first start doing the calculations. So once again, we're going to round to 2 decimal places, which means that our standard deviation will be 1.16. So let's type that in here, 1.16, left click enter, and we get a good job. We'll left click OK. And part C says construct a 90% confidence interval for the population mean mu. A 90% confidence interval for the population mean is, and we're given 2 fillable text fields, and we want to round to 2 decimal places as needed. We're going to go back into StatCrunch, and we're going to use StatCrunch. Couple things that we need to remember though. We're going to assume the population is normally distributed. So that's a good thing. We're either going to use a Z or a T-score. Since we're looking at 12 randomly selected college students and we do not know the population standard deviation, we will use a T-score or T-value. So once again, we're going to go back into StatCrunch. We're going to go to Stat, and we're going to come down and highlight T-stats. We'll come over and highlight one sample, and then we will left click with data since there is data in our first column. So we will go ahead and left click var1 so that it populates over here. We're not doing a hypothesis test, we are doing a confidence interval for the mean mu, and we want to do a 90% confidence interval, so we'll just retype this as 0.90. We'll come down here, you'll see this compute button. We'll left click compute, and here is our lower limit, 1.72, rounded to 2 decimal places, and our upper limit is 2.928, which we will round to 2.93. So let's go ahead and type in our lower limit and upper limit, and we have 1.72 for the lower limit and 2.93 for the upper limit. Let's check our answer, and we have completed the problem.